Welcome back to the Wireless Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We're here today with Jason Urbanowicz from the TrainerHQ, co-founder of TrainerHQ, formerly known as Create PT Wealth. Thanks for joining us today, sir.
Mate, it's a pleasure, and always just hang on how someone's going to pronounce my last name. But you did well. You nailed it.
I've been rehearsing it. I was thinking about putting a spin on it, like which or something like that at the end.
You could have.
But I don't know if I can say it with the first part. But yeah, thanks for joining me on the couch, mate.
Glad to be here.
It's nice to finally sit down and have a chat. You've helped me immensely, and I feel like there's a significant amount of knowledge that we could pass on through a podcast. And then I can probably just charge TrainerHQ prices to pass it on. Get that, guys? So I feel like. Yep. You guys, you and Brad, man, it's a fucking wealth of knowledge. It's crazy. And I first met you in 2011 at Wireless.
The expo, that's right.
And that was like before even I met you at the gym or anything, but we've been training together for a long time.
You still at, were you were in the army.
Yeah. So we first met 2011 at Filex.
Mates, right?
Yeah, my first posting as a PDI in Brisbane, and I got sent to the Fitness Expo for an educational professional development weekend.
There you go. All expenses paid?
Yes. Yeah.
The best.
With the requirement to attend 2 1-hour seminars a day at a minimum. So we got those out of the way between 10 and 12 a.m. So Filex, obviously, for me, is one of the best experiences in the fitness industry is going to that place. Especially for me, I didn't have to spend the money, but especially if you spend the money on doing the seminars, it's actually really handy. There's a lot of cool stuff, and at the time, it was when the TRX really just hit the scene. The TRX cable.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and I did the TRX session, and they fucking made us work out. So, but no dramas for me. But it was really good. But that was the first time we met, and then I started training back in Brisbane at a local gym under Dan Higgins, Professor Dan Higgins,
Professor Dan Sensei.
And that's where we obviously met there again. Yeah. So our paths crossed twice, and the rest is history, really. But what got you? What got you into the fitness industry? Like where did it all start for you?
Well, I mean, personally for me, I didn't do that great at school academically, so it just seemed like the obvious choice. Sport was the one thing that I was good at. I did judo as a kid from the age of 5, rugby league, tennis, you named it. And so when I left school, one of my first jobs was working part-time at a local gym. And, I always loved training. I loved the way it made me feel, weights. So it just seemed like a natural progression to get around and be around something that I love doing myself day in, day out. Back then, though, I'm 47, so back when I started, the whole thing of PT and personal training wasn't really around then. So it would have been really in its infant stages when I left school. I mean, you probably had to train if you had money, if you were a celebrity back then. But gym instructors, all that stuff, come in, join the gym, have a gym instructor take you around. I would have done 1,000 of the same programs, lat pull downs, bench press. But that's where I learned a lot of my craft, doing that repetition day in, day out. So I guess it was just a natural progression for me because I love sport. I love activities. I love gym. I started training weights at the age of 15. My dad was a weightlifter and a powerlifter. He ran a PCYC. So growing up as a kid, I was around it the whole time. So I think it was just a natural progression.
And so at what point did you decide that instead of just lifting weights and working in the gym, you were actually going to start training people? I mean, like you say, it wasn't really a big thing around then. You kind of needed money. So therefore, marketing yourself as a PT would have been a lot more difficult than it is now. Yep. Everyone wants motivators and someone to train them now. So at what point did you decide that I'm gonna have a crack at training people?
I actually moved to Melbourne when I was when I was around, I think 22, and I saw the difference in the industry down there. They were definitely ahead of us at that stage. It still had taken off in Brisbane, but I met some really key people down there. Craig Harper being one of them. He'd been in the industry forever, and he had this. I guess it was a private gym with about anywhere up to 15 trainers working out of there, and I had started doing a bit in Brisbane prior to that, but it was when I went down there that I really started to increase my knowledge, my education, and I got around some really good high-level trainers in the industry down there. And when I moved back, that's when I really decided to pick things up. I learned a lot about sales and marketing and the elements that make a business successful. So it was when I come back. I was in Melbourne for 3 years, and I really had learned a lot down there about not just the training part of it, but how to run a business. And it's where I saw the gap in the market back here at that time to really do something special. And at that point, I had started a gym at Everton Park with a mate of mine. And back then, I guess, rewind the clock over 20 years, we were really one of the first people that had a gym where we had trainers working, for us in the facility. Back then, if you were a personal trainer in Brisbane, you might pay the gym $5, $10 every time you want to come and train out of there, and that was the norm. But when we opened the gym, what I realised is that we didn't want to just be a gym. We wanted to provide actual results and outcomes for people. So classic scenario, people joined the gym thinking that was what they needed to do, only to 4 or 5 weeks down the track drop out, stop training, weren't sure what they were doing, lack of results, lack of motivation. So that really inspired me to go, well, what do we actually want to do here? Do I actually want to just have gym members, have gym instructors, or do we want to provide solutions and outcomes? And that's when we put together our PT packs. I guess we had 3: trim and tone, we had a muscle accelerator, and healthy lifestyle programs. Then we started selling results rather than just personal training. So that was my, I guess, experience in the industry. Going down to Melbourne really helped with that.
Okay, and I've seen the famous photo of you at $160.
Yeah.
Powerlifting, obviously.
It was a lot of work.
That was Melbourne.
Yeah, I was down in Melbourne that stage when I got up to that 160 kilos.
That's fuck. I get to 90 kilos and I'm out of breath, mate. Look, how? I mean, it's a lot of people will try different things, like fucking intermittent fasting, all these different diet things, and try to train a little bit different here and there. But how different is it that powerlifting, trying to put on size and build that strength, and the increase in weights obviously is very small increments at that size or that level. How is that experience for you? Like trying to maintain. I mean, we see it when they talk to like the world's strongest man.
Yeah.
What's his name? Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and guys like that, and it's just like 10,000 calories a day, and
it's nuts.
Fuck,
that's crazy.
It's crazy. Like how do you sustain that?
I don't, looking back, I don't know, to be honest. It was a lot of hard work, and I certainly wouldn't want to be that way now. At this age with all that weight. I don't know if I actually even meant to get that big, to be honest. It wasn't. I don't know if I actually intentionally said I want to get to 160 kilos. I think I just got obsessed with it, trying to get bigger and stronger, and as a result, that's what occurred. But it was, it's a lot. Like, I just remember always being tired, and it didn't have the energy I do now, of course, but. Back then especially, I don't think I actually needed to get that big. I probably could have been around about the 120, 130, and it probably would have been enough. But I guess I was young and I just wanted to push the envelope. And
I guess that brings me to the next question: is like, does size transfer across to the weight, like the lifting numbers? When you say you could have been 120, could you have lifted the same 120 as you did at 160? Or 155. I probably exaggerated the numbers there, but 155.
It does play a part. Like, if you look at most of the strongmen, apart from maybe a selected few, they're really big guys. If you're going to be deadlifting a heap of weight, your body's got to be able to take it. Your joints got to be able to take it. Your tendons. So it does play a part. Otherwise, you would have these strong men that getting around at 100 kilos leaner. So it does make a difference.
Yeah.
I noticed that when I started to cut back and I started getting leaner, that I certainly didn't have the ability. That didn't mean I wasn't strong. I just found it was a lot more challenging on my joints, my tendons, and everything else. So it definitely does play a part. But where is that point? So like I said, at 130, 140, I probably felt like I was just as strong. So then there probably wasn't that need to have that extra weight carrying around.
Yeah.
For some guys, it may help, but look, at the end of the day, when you start to get a massive gut and stomach, I mean, maybe that helps to rest the weight on.
Yeah.
Before you press it up above your head. But yeah, I think for me, at around about 130, I mean, I'm 6'1", almost 6'2", 130 kilos was probably my ideal weight, really. When doing strongman type of lifting and that stuff. But yeah, I think 160 got a bit out of control.
Yeah, and obviously, you're a jiu-jitsu black belt.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But you still lift weights a lot. I don't see it because I don't want to be anywhere near the weight that you lift. But you lift weights daily, pretty much, or 3, 4, 5 days a week.
Yeah, depending on how much I'm training with the other activities like jiu-jitsu and the wrestling, I'll look at my schedule for the week, and I'd say at least 3 or 4, and then it depends on how much volume and what I'm doing for training. If I'm doing what I call like an easy strength training, where I'm doing less repetition, like 5 reps, and I am trying to go as heavy as I can for that amount of time, I don't get as sore. So I don't get the DOMS, the delayed onset muscle soreness. So that I find that more effective for jiu-jitsu. But doing conventional style training where maybe you're doing a higher rep range for 10 reps or more, and 3 to 5 sets, I find it's not really conducive to as you would know, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, all the rest of it, because you turn up and you're all stiff and sore, and it's not helpful. So I'd say on average I would train a minimum of 3, but I'd say 3 to 4 is my normal.
I'll get stiff and sore the next day from jiu-jitsu, mate.
It's the thing I get the sorest from. I'm trained this morning. I can barely beat my fingers.
Yeah.
I get a lot. I can say right now I'm more sore from a hard hit out of that than I do normally from the strength training.
Yeah. Well, we're at Everton Park when you had the gym, and you started putting trainers on, and that wasn't really the done thing at the time, right? So
yeah.
How did you, if trainees could go to another place and spend $5 or $10 and just train people there?
Yeah.
How did you convince the trainers themselves, A, that they can make money with your model, and B, how did you then make it work?
Sorry, what I should clarify is that it wasn't the trainers charging that, it was the gym. So if you're a trainer and you wanted to train your clients out of a gym.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
you'd pay the gym $5 or $10, and you come in and train your clients, and you get the money, right?
Yeah. So
how did you convince them that your model was better?
The trainers?
Yeah.
Well, firstly, is running a business can be challenging, as you know. So, and what wasn't that common back then is that we didn't have them on as subcontractors. They were employees.
Yep.
So I guess you've got trainers that go, I want to turn up and do what I love, which is training people, but I don't actually necessarily want to run a business. I don't want to have to do the marketing. I don't want to have to do the selling. I don't want to have to do the administration part. I want to turn up. I've got a handful of clients. I've got 20, 30 clients. I just want to train them, look after them, do what I love, then go home. And I don't want to have to be concerned about the other things. So that was the one way that we provided, I guess, opportunities for trainers. And you got to remember that stage too, AIF come on the scene, and that's when I guess our industry exploded. So back before then, you rather went to, you'd exercise phys, or you went to TAFE. FitLink was around back then, and the courses were a lot longer. So it was a year to get your qualifications. AIF come out, and then you could basically do it in 3 months, I believe. It was.
That's your Cert 3.
Cert 3 and 4, if you did it full time, you could pretty much knock it out pretty quick.
I did mine through the military, so I don't actually I don't actually know how civilians do their certs.
So
I just got paid to do mine, so that was awesome.
So that's where the industry changed, right? Where you rather before that you were a gym instructor, you worked on the gym counter, you did gym programs, and then it evolved, and then or the other option was you started your own business and become a trainer, but then you needed to be able to know how to run a business and do it effectively. So there was an opportunity for people getting graduated out of the colleges that weren't really up for running a business. So then I guess we provided them an opportunity to come and work, and of course they were going to make less than what they could have made if they ran their own, but they didn't have to do all the other stuff that went along with the business.
Well, that's the counter, right? Is like when you start running a business, it becomes your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like it consumes you.
Yeah.
Whereas when you can turn up to work and just work,
yeah,
then that is the lifestyle.
Exactly.
So the balance is like how much effort you want to put in versus what you want to get out, right?
Yeah. It's like anything. If you want to work in your own business, there's more reward, more risk. Or you go and work for somebody. They're the options. And not everyone's up for the journey or the roller coaster ride, as I call it, as being in business. You've got to be able to handle the ups and downs, the goods, the bads. But in a job, you just turn up and it's someone else's responsibility. Just as long as you do your part and you're fulfilling your role, then that's all good. But in a business, that's not the case.
Yeah. And so where'd you meet Brad?
Well, funny, Brad and I grew up in the same area. So I grew up in Bray Park and he was in that area as well. So we grew up in the same suburb and we did our first bodybuilding contest at the age of 15. Now, I didn't actually know Brad at that stage, but that's where we met. And then I started to see him around the area. We went to different high schools, but that was the connection. And, as we got older and there was the party scene, we, started going out and partying and all the rest of it. We just happened to both go down that path of being trainers and being qualified in the fitness industry. I watched Brad's journey and vice versa. And when I come back from Melbourne, I actually had noticed that he had just taken off. So he was, again, back then, probably one of the most well-known trainers in Queensland and Brisbane at least. So I think back then his business was called Peak Physique. And I think when I had come back from Melbourne by that stage as well, he potentially may have already been like $200 something for a 45-minute session, but he did get up to $440. So he had the name.
That's impressive. How long ago was that too? That was like 20 years ago, right?
Well, it maybe not 20 years ago, but it was maybe 15, 16, 17 years ago. I can't remember when he actually got to 440, but I know when I come back and I was sitting down with him and I've gone, mate, I'd love to pick your brains about what you've done. You've hired he had like at least 10 trainers by then working for him. They were doing over 200 hours of PT a week. And I just wanted to pick his brain. And I remember him telling me he was like 220. And in my mind, I was thinking, fuck off. Like I said, who's paying you that? I must have been around about 80 or something at that stage. And but then I was more curious to go, what's the go? And sure, he was in a good area, but he was a top level, trainer. He was a smart operator, got himself a business coach. He ticked all the boxes and what it took to be successful as a technician.
He put the runs on the board.
Yeah, and then also, getting the right help. So getting a business coach and educating himself on the business side of it. So the combination went well. He also educated. He really gave back to the industry. He taught at FitLink, teaching the courses and qualifying trainers. So, he really paid his dues, and to this day, I guess we both still love what the industry has to offer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's obviously when you started picking his brain. That's obviously what brought you guys together on a work level.
Yeah. Well, I come back, and then that's when the gym started to take off, and I just wanted to see what he was doing before we started to look at how we were going to map things out and the business. We just stayed connected. We were starting to train. We were training together, and I started getting involved in emotional intelligence training in the personal development arena. So just because I was having some issues myself with stress, anxiety, and it just wasn't, where I thought I wanted to be mentally and emotionally. So I also got a coach and a mentor in that area, which I fell in love with that side of things, realising that it's such a big part of your success is what's going on between your ears. So I probably missed that bit, but we did train. We stayed in contact, but then I just fell in love with this whole concept of visualization, mental rehearsal, emotional intelligence, understanding different personalities. So I embarked upon about a 5-year apprenticeship, as I called it, and I guess how to make myself a better version, but also just then how to help others break through self-sabotaging roadblocks and limiting beliefs. And as I started to go through that, I got involved in that company called Beyond Success at the time, and Paul Blackburn was my mentor. He'd been doing it for 20-odd years. He'd worked at the Institute of Sport in Canberra, training athletes and how to get, to peak performance. So I did all this training and education and combined the two, with the business and myself. And I guess it wasn't long after that I started to talk to Brad about saying, I think there's a real hole in the market. There's, in 2007, I remember I going to him and said, I think there's a real opportunity to help people in the fitness industry who want to be successful in their business, but they maybe just don't have the right skill set, structure, and support and how to do it.
Well, it's easy in any industry to build up the anxiety in your head. Well, it doesn't matter what you do. Whether you're an athlete and you got to compete, you get anxious. Whether you're a fitness industry coach and you need to sell yourself at $200 an hour, you get anxious. You're like, how the fuck am I going to convince this person that I'm worth $200? I mean, the answer to that is sort of like putting runs on the board. If you've done the work, you know what you're worth. But, if I was like, I'm going to charge $1,000 an hour, like I would still be like, no one's going to pay me that. You know what I mean? Like, you got to sell that. But it goes for every industry, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's obviously where Create PT Wealth came from, was the hole in the market.
Yeah. Well, we both had people coming to us that we knew saying, what are you guys doing and how you're doing it and how have you been to get, reach the success that you've had? And that's what prompted me to go, I think there's something in there. And I started, a pilot group first, so without Brad. So in 2007, I had about 6 trainers that I knew that are businesses, and I ran a test pilot for a year. I got Brad along to speak because when I first asked him, he went, I'm cool doing my thing at Peak Physique and knowing Brad well, I thought if I get him along to actually present and teach, which is what he loves doing as well, I thought that might actually help him have a look at it from a different perspective and see what I was doing. And he did. He come along and he loved it. And it was from there we just started chatting further. And the following year we got together again. And look, at the end of the day, we said, look, let's give this a go for 12 months. See if we both enjoy working together. Is there something in this? And then we'll review. And that's exactly what we did. And we run our very first workshop at the start of 2008. We had about 50 people attend. And we had, I think we had about 12 people take up our program at that stage. And they all invested, I think, 10 grand each to do it. And that was a 3-day event. And, I sold the idea of the coaching and the mentoring from stage. And, that was the start of it. So I guess if that wasn't the case, we might be having a different convo. But it went really well.
it doesn't matter what industry you're in. Like, I never got to the UFC without a coach.
Yeah.
You don't achieve success without some kind of guidance.
Yeah.
Whether it's paid or unpaid, but everyone knows that anything that comes unpaid is what they want to tell you.
Yeah.
Anything that comes paid is usually what you need to hear.
Yeah.
So obviously there was a gap in the market for that, and you guys made the most of that opportunity. So is that where Create PT Wealth started?
Yeah.
Or was that down the track?
No, it started at that point in 2008. We kicked off. We started it, and there might have been maybe one other company that was around at that stage, but I think they were from the US. But we were one of the first to do it. I know another guy, Andrew May. He had maybe a short period of time where he gave it a crack, and funny enough, we were told by a couple of people that it won't work. No trainers in the fitness industry will be prepared to invest 10 grand at that stage, what it was, to do a year program with you. And of course, I would. So you can't say no one. And I knew for a fact that 6 other people had the year before with me. And so it's funny. You also got to listen to what people think, will or won't happen. So I just blocked that out. We blocked it out because we were getting told everywhere, oh, really? No, you guys are crazy. No one in the fitness industry is going to want to fork out that much money for a course.
It's funny because when I decided to open a gym, someone said to me, "Oh, gyms don't make any money, man." So I was leaving work where I used to work, and as I was leaving, I remember walking down the stairs and I was like, "Oh man, I'll see you back here in 12 months." Like, gyms don't make any money. And I was like, well, to start with, I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the lifestyle because I want to go to the gym every day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to drag my ass to the gym at 7 p.m. because I've just finished a 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
I want to go to the gym every day, like all fucking day. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So it's not about the money to start with. If it makes enough for me to do that each day, then I'm happy. But it's funny because people always tell you something won't work.
Yeah.
Because they can't see what you can see, right? You knew there was a hole there.
Yeah.
You seen it. You envisioned it. You put the program together, and you know it's going to work. But everyone around you, they can't see that shit. It's like I talk about, making UFC after 6 years.
Yeah.
I could see that it was going to happen.
Yep.
But I just lost 4 fights in a row, and everyone's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Like, you're going to lose again, or, you should throw the towel in now. Like, man, go and get a job and look after your family. I'm like, no, I'm going to fucking make it.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it. Like, you can't see what I can see.
Yep.
And it's the same with any business.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do let that creep in, eh?
Well, I think the key message there is you just got to be really careful who you're listening to.
Yeah.
Because if you allow that stuff to get creep in, then, I often say that there's a couple of sides to it. There's people that can hear that, and that's all they need as a reason not to do something as well. And then there's the people that say it, and I might go, oh, thanks for your opinion, or like, okay, gyms don't make any money. Have you been in a gym? Have you had a gym? And mostly it's no, or they just didn't know how to run a business properly, or it's like when you hear out there, most businesses fail within the first, 5 years. Businesses are hard, they're risky, don't get into business with friends or family, but they're all beliefs.
Yeah.
They're all beliefs from people, so it depends on what you want to believe.
Yeah.
If you want to believe that gyms don't make money, well, guess what? it won't.
Yeah.
But there's a shitload of them that do. So it's a silly thing to say to start with.
Yeah, for sure. So you started out, I guess it's the same, right? You started out helping PTs and then you help business owners. Mm-hmm. Is it the same sort of like model? Because, they're really all still running a business, but some are sole traders, some are a company. Yeah. Is it the same sort of thing you're helping, but with a little bit difference?
Yeah. Or? Look, I'd say that I'd say it is the same. Like you got to have a clear plan, sense of direction, what you want out of this, out of the business itself. But in our model, it's over 95% have at least a team member, and they've gone to move out of being a solo operator and want to build a business. So we might have some people already have a business, meaning that they're not a sole trader or self-employed, but most of them that's their goal. So we help go from being a solo trainer, where if they don't do all the work, they don't get paid, to being able to remove themselves from the business and have an actual business. So that's our specialty, is based off Brad's and our model. And I see a lot of there's a new coach popping up every day, but when people understand our journey, it was done by a desire to help. We had our own businesses running successfully. We didn't need to do it. But it was based off our own experience. So when you say there's a lot of knowledge, it is, and it takes that long, that many errors, that many fuck ups, that many like learnings, training courses to be able to sit here now and be able to help somebody. It takes that long. It literally does. So to answer your question, it is a similar thing. You got to know what you're trying to achieve with your business, what it's supposed to fulfill you. Most people we meet, they don't have a plan. They don't know how much income they want to make. They don't have any idea about, who they want to market to, what they're selling, all that stuff. So it doesn't really matter, solo trainer or business owner. I walked into plenty of businesses that can't tell me what they earned last week and what their expenses are and, all that stuff, their profit and loss. So it doesn't really matter. But our model is to help people become business owners.
When I was first in the fitness industry, 2011, your book was the first book I ever bought, the first PT book I ever bought. So
did you get that down at the expo?
I may have. Yeah. And what actually happened was being a PT instructor in the army is, you get paid to train people, right? But I wanted to train people on the side, and I didn't really know, I didn't do the normal Cert 3, Cert 4. I mean, I got them, but they're through the training cell. So you don't learn, I guess, like the little bit of extras, like how to market yourself and all that sort of stuff, because you just get paid $65,000 a year to train people.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. And drink coffee and eat breakfast at cafes and wear nice little red shorts that everyone talks about and all that sort of stuff. But we do it well.
Yep.
But so I bought your book. What was the motivator to write a book?
Couple of things. One, it was to get our knowledge and information out as far as we possibly can, because like doing seminars, one-on-one coaching, you can only influence so many people. So firstly, it was to get our wealth of knowledge out in the hands of many people as we can. That was number one. Number two was it was a positioning tool and a brand tool as well. So we sought out a guy named Darren Stevens from global marketing, and his specialty was how to write a #1 bestseller. So, again, I thought if we want to we were positioning ourselves as the top level coaches in our industry. So if you wanted to seek out the best in the fitness industry as getting consultants, coaches, we positioned ourselves like that. So it couldn't just be a book; it had to be a #1 best-selling book. So I didn't know anything about doing that. So we walk our talk, and we got the right coach that specialised in that. So we had 5,000 books pre-ordered before we even, got them in our hands, which made it a #1 bestseller.
That's awesome.
So
that's for your first book.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unreal.
It was unreal, and the best part is it didn't cost us a cent because we had pre-sold those books.
Yep.
It was about, by the time you got them printed, all the rest of it, it would have cost only $20,000, but we had made our money on that. It didn't cost us anything. We had sold advertising space in the book. We had people that were case studies in the industry that paid to be in the book. So
from reaching out to a coach, again,
yeah,
you go to the people to help you succeed.
Yep, and they got them in the bookstores. They got them on Amazon. They took care of all that stuff. And unfortunately, most people get a book that's self-published, and half of them are sitting in the garage collecting dust, and they don't do anything. So that was our purpose behind it. We wanted it to be, and look, it's really served us really well. You got the book. We've had people that have found it in a library. We've got a client that Brad and I used to fly a lot, and we've given a book to a lady that was checking us in at Virgin. She gave it to her son. He became a client. It's like the book still will carry weight for many years to come.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, the fitness industry is always evolving. Do you think that, and people write like versions of books. Do you think that book is still relevant? I mean, some components would still be relevant, but do you think it's still relevant? Is it still for sale?
Yeah, it's still for sale. We've recently rebranded it because now we're TrainerHQ. So we haven't done another print run, but we've redone it, and we have rewritten parts that maybe weren't as relevant. We've taken out the bits of social media that aren't relevant. So hard to keep up to date with putting stuff like Facebook in there because it changes so often.
Yeah.
So we got rid of that part because it's just you can't guarantee that what works now. If you wrote something about Facebook in 6 months' time, it's going to be totally irrelevant. So we just removed that bit. But in terms of sales, marketing, how to build a team, the psychology of being successful, which is all in the book, that'll all say the same. Look at Think and Grow Rich, when it was written. Some of these books were written 50, 60 odd years ago. It doesn't change. It's still the same principles. So we have still people reading it today, just going, it's.
Well, I think what you just said was the key, right? It's about the principles.
Principles, yeah.
It's the same as for me, I know personally, when I teach martial arts, it's about the concept. So we teach a concept and the principles, and you can apply that to however you want.
Yeah.
And so if the principles are the same in the book from 50 years ago, all you got to do is apply the modern era to the same principles.
Yeah. Like technology changes, online training wasn't around back then. Big deal. I mean, online, offline, people forget. People think it's some online personal training is this new mystique thing. It's not. It's the same concept, same principle, just the delivery of service is different. You still need, to know who your market is, who you're targeting, how you deliver service, how you sell that product. The technology in terms of how do you deliver it, that's, in my opinion, the easy part to figure out. So there's, again, there was businesses offline, like people working out of gyms that don't make it. There's about 1 million PTs trying to be successful online, not making it either, because they don't understand the principles of how to run a business.
Yeah,
it just looks appealing because you go, I can do it on the beach and I can do it anywhere, but you know, it's still, you got to know how to build a business and run it properly. If you're not educated in it, you won't do it.
So, on that, like, so what's your your 3 most important things prior to building a business? What would you tell every business owner to do?
Myself?
Besides reach out to TrainerHQ. like if you just said, like, without going into detail, you said the 3 most important things prior to opening a business.
Yeah, I'd say firstly is if you're going to open a business up, do your research, of course. Is there a big enough market for it? How do you fit into the market? How can you be different in the market as well? So, you know, I don't want to go and open up a place that's right next door that's exactly the same as what everyone else is doing. So do a bit of research, do a bit of intel. If you are going to enter a market space, how are we going to be different? What are our competition doing really great? What don't they do great? And look for a gap. Look for the look for the opportunity in a marketplace to be different. And unfortunately, I don't think a lot of people do that. They just go, I've got a great idea, and they launch. So definitely doing your research, understand what you're good at, what you're not good at is going to be very important. Look at what skill sets you have and what you're going to require. And I talk about this with you a lot. You were very new to business when you started this, right? But what you did was you got the right people in the right places. So myself, I believe you had a good accountant, and you were smart enough to go, this is what I know I'm good at. I've got the vision. I know what I want to achieve, but there's certain parts I don't understand. I don't know. So you got the help right from the start. Too many businesses, me included. When I started, I spent the first 5 or 6 years running the hope plan. And it was just hoping it all worked out. No direction, no purpose. I had no idea what I was doing. I lacked skill sets in so many areas.
Well, my thing was accountant, lawyer, or / solicitor. So accountant, solicitor, and a business coach. Fitness industry, as in industry-specific business coach.
Yeah.
And, you know, if your accountant helps you set up properly, and you're always going to need a solicitor.
Yeah.
You know, you signing leases and all sorts of shit. And all your forms when people signing up and contracts, and so you need that. So you need those 2, and then you don't necessarily need a business coach. But from my opinion, I'm always of the same opinion, and that is we never achieve greatness without a coach. So go and get yourself an industry specific business coach.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you are new to it and you don't have the right skill set, like I could go and open up a hairdressing, business. I don't know a lot about hairdressing, but I know what would be required to make that business a success, right? So I definitely would say get help. Get help. Have the right structure in place, because if your business, if it revolves around you doing everything, then you'll just get to a point where you get overwhelmed.
So do your research.
Do your research for sure, like whatever business.
Surround yourself with the right people.
Get the right people, the right support, the right help. Start to understand what skill set you need to make that business a success.
Don't look back.
Don't look back, definitely, and then put the right structure in place. So I call it the triangle principle with our guys. I say you got to have the right skill set, and not just, you don't have to have them all, because like you said, you've got the right people to help you. So, but you got to look at what skill sets required to take a business from 0 to 100 grand, because a 0 to 1 million is different. So what's required there? What structure does that business need to let it grow to 100 grand? So you're not just running around like a headless chook, hoping it all works out. Have real key indicators that you can tell what's going to happen and how it's happening, how you're performing, and then have the right support. And if you have those 3 main things in place, your chances of success are going to be a lot greater.
Yeah,
it's a roadmap. It's having a roadmap for where you want to head. Just get in your car and go, I've never been to Sydney before, but I think this will get me there. And then start driving. Then you realise you're heading to Cairns. Yeah. You go, whoops. Yeah. Maybe I should have done a bit of research first.
I went south to the first town.
I should have done a bit of planning and all that before I just got in the car and went for it. It's like having that attitude and that drive is good, but you want to have a bit of direction with it all as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So that'd be them. I mean, there's many things, but they're the 3 things that I always instill in our guys. Like, if you don't have the right people doing the sales, well, you just miss opportunities. if you're not saying the right things in the marketplace, well, you'll be invisible. If you can't deliver on your promise and your service, and you're not keeping clients because of that, well, that's an issue. So you've got to make sure all that is in place. So.
Yeah, sweet. And that's why we have business coaches.
That's right.
Because like I know myself, there's a lot of I like to think that I know. Like even when I started, like to think that like I'm sweet, like I know how to run a business. I've managed businesses, I've done business certificates, but there's a lot of shit that you just don't realize. Like when I started up, it was even just like as little detail as like are my forms. Do I have the right forms?
Yeah.
Do I have a waiver form? Do I have a contract? Do I have terms and conditions? Are my terms and conditions written by a lawyer? Like there's so many details. It's not just like, I'll buy all the equipment and I'll set a gym up and I'll just start training people.
Yep.
Like there's so much stuff in the background. And obviously you guys specialising in what you do is you kind of have those lists. So you can be like, have you done this? And it's like, I personally feel like that's a priceless thing to have in your corner.
Yeah.
Is someone that can double check your work all the time.
Yeah.
Obviously that changes over time.
Yeah.
But so you rebranded to TrainerHQ, which looks awesome, by the way, because the fucking color code of yellow really goes to the black well. And as we discussed earlier, Brad is all over the apparel and equipment.
Mate, he's
no speakers, but
no speakers yet. I saw your one downstairs.
We'll get onto that.
We'll get that sorted. And the shoes.
In the shoes, TrainerHQ Converse shoes. Yeah. So what's the end goal for TrainerHQ? What, like, you've found a niche in the market and a hole. You've helped, no doubt, thousands of people become successful trainers and business owners.
Yeah.
Where does TrainerHQ go?
Maybe we want to. I mean, our global's where we're heading. So, I mean, before the whole COVID thing, we were heading over to the States. Flights were getting booked and all that stuff. So we're aiming to build, I guess, not maybe like a franchise, but a franchise opportunities where people over in the States could run a section of TrainerHQ with our model. So it's really going global now is what we want to do. I mean, we created the Pathway to Profits program, which is the online program. It's all about getting our training and information in the more hands of the trainers. We've just got an app that's about to be released. So, I mean, our thing is education. And along with that comes then opportunities to go into the UK and the other major, countries in the world where we can now have our training, our methods, and our resources that have been so successful here and just branch of overseas. So we've got clients overseas, but that's the next thing for us is that we want to have not Brad and I, but we want to start removing ourselves from it, which we have greatly. But then we want to have someone over in the States that can run it, in the UK that can run it.
Well, you want to coach the business coaches that are then passing on that knowledge to owners.
Yeah, and we've started to develop a course where we've got our own training that already now that our coaches have to go through and be qualified in. So, and more importantly, though, I think it's hard now for people because when we started, when people say, "Oh, really? You guys are business coaches in the fitness industry," it was a rare thing. But now it's like, no, not another one. So it's also I think now for the consumer going, well, who do I actually pick? Because there's so many business coaches out there. So we're doing our better job of making sure that we distance ourselves from the cowboys out there that are put up a Facebook page, whatever, and say I'm a business coach with no qualifications or background. So our thing is to keep aligning ourselves with, the colleges, which we already are. AIF want to use our resources to give to their students when they come out. Fit College, we're now doing a lot of stuff with them. So it's just to keep building the brand, but also just expand worldwide. And so that we can get our resources and training in the hands of, people worldwide, not just in Australia.
Okay, that's I didn't know that myself. So that's awesome. I mean, I think it's incredible that people globally will have access to you guys. Yeah. I mean, I can't speak highly enough myself. It's been 2.5 years and I'm still using you. So it's I think that everyone should definitely reach out to you guys. So how do people reach out to TrainerHQ?
Look, I think the easiest way is to go to our website, and that's TrainerHQ HQ trainer-HQ.com, and that way people can get all the resources, information. We've got blogs on there, podcasts. People can really get immersed in what we're about. Our
Do the
philosophies.
research.
I always say do the research. Like, when people come and ask us about help, like, have you checked us out? And if they say no, I say, well, why would you do that? You want to get an understanding of who you're talking to first. But go and find out about our values, our principles. But if you are in a business and you are looking for help and that's something you want to inquire about, look, the first thing is always just to go to our site, make an inquiry. Someone will get in contact with you. And our process is also, we want to have a discussion first to figure out if, number one, we don't know you. We don't even know if you're the right person to implement our methods and our strategies. And number two, are we the right people to help your particular business? So it's the easiest way. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff, but I recommend people go to the website. Yep. It's authority website. You get everything you need to know about us there.
Well, it's informative. So they get to see everything they want to, listen to a few podcasts.
Yep.
Maybe, is Brad workout on there? Any workout videos of Brad on that? Because that'll sell them for sure.
I don't know, mate. He probably has put something on there. Like, probably if you can find a picture of him with a shirt on there, you're probably doing well.
Yeah, I seen him with a singlet on this morning, so that's half a shirt. So that's not bad. And I guess we'll just touch quickly, but I've personally felt the pinch, but COVID.
Yeah.
COVID's hit the fitness industry like a fucking ton of bricks.
Yeah,
the first thing to shut, the last thing to open. Every lockdown. New South Wales is definitely feeling the pinch right now. But how have you? I mean, maybe not directly, well, to a degree, but with everyone being hit by that, they're still going to reach out to you for assistance during that time. But how do you feel like that's impacted you guys as well as a flow-on? But more importantly, how's that impacted the gym industry, the fitness industry?
Oh, look, firstly, I'm just really disappointed that, the industry that has given so much to the communities and public and providing an opportunity to be healthier, fitter and stronger, whatever they are looking for, that they are the ones that get locked down. I just think I'm disgusted, actually, that that's the case because, if you've ever been to a gym, and I think some of these people who make these decisions obviously haven't, you'll know that they're the most hygienic places you can ever possibly find anyway, because we have to be.
Well, all I hear is like, oh, why would you go to a gym with COVID being rampant because of people sweating and spitting everywhere? I'm like, fuck, you obviously haven't been drunk, mate, because I've spat over more of my mates when I'm drunk than I ever have working out.
Yeah, but you can go to a brothel, so, it's like...
It doesn't... Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't make any sense, and trying to make sense of it makes less sense.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that an industry that promotes health, fitness, wellness, and everything else that's positive, which is also all of the things that reduce your risk of contracting or being severely impacted by COVID.
Yeah.
That we've just been shut down, boom, like that.
Yeah. I can only imagine that some of the people are making decisions, they just have not stepped foot inside of a gym. Because if they did, they would understand it. But look, that to the side, and I think we so many people share that view. It has been tough, and we especially this last round. Like, there's not a very many days go by where we're not just mentally and emotionally giving our guys some support. And I think the it's tiring where you've got to adapt, not through your own doing, but because of what gets thrusted upon you, right? So then it dulls a bit of hope, and when I like creativity and drive, because most of the guys that work with us, they're driven people. They want to do better, they want to excel. But when most of your energy is spent surviving, or instead of thriving, then that's the part that's probably the hardest, right? So it has had, when it first hit last year, definitely ripple effect to us. But I think a lot of our guys have been able to adapt, but it's just tough. It's tough when you're just trying to hang in there rather than you want to grow and expand, right? So that's the biggest issue at the moment, and no certainty. So when you can't be told there's light in the tunnel, they keep moving the end date. It's hard to plan. It's hard to do anything else. So, the message mostly for our guys is that look for opportunities to increase the areas of their business that they probably neglected. when they were busy, so they don't get back and they're still neglected. And I think that's what that was a question. Wasn't
it was just like how have you guys been impacted by? Obviously, you coach people in the fitness industry, and we've all been impacted by it. So it's like, how have you guys been impacted? But also, just what have you seen? From everyone, which is obviously that people that often are driven are now surviving, as opposed to thriving. And do you think that on the other side of this, when we all learned that we actually have to live with it because it's not going away, do you think that the fitness industry will thrive? We've seen after each lockdown, people go, "Oh, I don't want to be at home anymore," and then they go and join a gym.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I mean, I can only imagine that would be the case. But like anything, there'll be some people that will, they won't. But I can only imagine it will be the case. And we've got I was speaking to one of our clients down in Wollongong yesterday, and he's got a group training model. They went online after the first lockdown back last year, and they've continued to do that. But what he's identified is that they can still do one-on-one outdoors, and so many of his clients want to do that. They're a bit over the online, and they want to do one-on-one. So he's had to switch and realise that these people want to get outdoors. They want to train. So I can only imagine the answer is yes, mate. Like, I mean, who wants to be just stuck at home training in your lounge room all the time?
Yeah, for sure.
So, it's hard to tell. It really is hard to tell, but I'd like to think that's the case.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. Well, only time will tell, but look, man, so TrainerHQ.com, do your research. Don't wait till you're in trouble to seek assistance. That's the number one business mistake, in my opinion, is not getting assistance before you need it. Don't wait till you need it.
Agree.
So yeah, I really appreciate you joining me today, man. We've obviously trained together for a long time, and I feel like after using yourself and TrainerHQ Create PT World, that everyone needs to. It's I'm not here to drum up business, but like quite literally has changed my path as far as business goes, no doubt, and guided me on the right path, especially being able to deal with what's going on in the world right now. So trainer-hq.com. Do your research, guys. Check it out, and don't miss out on the opportunity to have awesome coaches in your corner.
Awesome,
so,
bro.
Thanks for joining me today, bro.
My pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We'll see you next time.